Hi, I just want to welcome you to our random story time. It's our time, kia ora, talofa. It's our time, our special time of day. It's our time, just you and me together. It's time to say hello, g'day, ke te pē he koe. It's time to say hello, g'day, talofa, tēnā koe. And for those of you who are joining me today, I have some special guests with me. I'd like to introduce them to you. We have Buzz, because everyone enjoys a good buzz. We have, hey, whatever her name is, she might be Jemima, but she might just be Honesty. Jonesty, yeah, that sounds like a good name for her. You can make up whatever names you like for your teddies. This is something that you could do for your time at home. I'm lucky enough to be sitting on a furry rug. We all love a good furry rug, don't we? Would you like to look at mine? There's my furry rug. I know you've got a furry rug too. So feel free to get your furry rug and come on and join me. We also have little Ted. What's that, little Ted? Oh, I'm sorry about that. You can't see the story because you've got no eyes. Well, that would be because you're nearly 48 years old. So, you might need some glasses, or maybe we could sew on some new eyes for you later. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, I don't know. Oh, you better not laugh too hard. You might laugh your head off because actually I haven't fixed it. We also have Spot. Spot the dog in this environment. And Dolly. In New Zealand, we had Manu. I like to call her Dolly for want of another name. She's also about 40-something years old. All of these beautiful little things, except for Woody and Spot, are about as old as I am, which is about 25. So Dolly looks a bit like this because she's freaked out that she came out of the cupboard to join me today. And then we had Big Ted. Big Ted is just a bit of a chill factor. He likes to lay back and do stuff all. But you could do this for you at your home, where you can have a picnic or a get-together with your stuffed up friends. We all love our stuffed up friends, don't we? Who have you got that you would like to bring to your furry rug? Today, I'm going to be talking about Brian, the smelly bear who smelled something smelly. And I'm pretty sure if you guys haven't been having showers over the time that you've had to stay inside, you might be a lot like Brian. It's probably not a good idea. Still good to get in that shower, especially you teenage boys. There's nothing like spending time with teenage boys. And I know all the teachers out there in Teacherland know exactly what I'm talking about. There is nothing on earth like a classroom after lunchtime. It's not something that anyone else wants to experience. You parents are lucky enough to only have a few, if at all, or one. Teachers are lucky enough sometimes to have 28 of them. Can't you imagine the beautiful smell that goes on in a classroom after lunchtime sport? Ah! Just makes me excited thinking about it. So, oh, by the way, I just have to say that I stole that song from You and Me, which is a really, really, really old program that was on TV in New Zealand, which had Susie Cato who presented it. And I'm just trying to get my inner Susie Cato on. Look, I've even got my flower. So, Brian the smelly bear smells something smelly. And just to make sure that we all remember, Can you remember what this is called? A spine. We all need a spine, especially through this time. Keeps us strong and keeps us able to keep going. Don't forget, we have an author, Mark Chambers. We need to honour that person because they came up with all these super great ideas that make a story for us. If you can't see, maybe you should get some new eyes or put your glasses on. If not, and you don't have the option, maybe you could just listen to me being a complete nutcase. Brian was once a very smelly bear who ponged out the wood when his stench filled the air. See, told you it's just like a classroom after lunch. But now he smells nice, all fresh and clean. He can walk past his friends and they don't turn green. Oh, sorry about that. They can't see the pictures. I'll show them later. Brian loves a good wash with bubbles and foam, and then a nice brush with a big wooden comb. He'll snooze in the shade until lunch and then tea. Life's great, fantastic, and brilliant, said he. But then a slight whiff. It went past his nose. It was awful and foul, just like stinky toes. I know other things that stink too. Can you think of things that stink? There's lots of stinky things in the world, aren't there? Was it rotting eggs? Was it dirty socks? Or maybe it was a smelly old fox. What else can you think of that's stinky? I can think of boys, and that's the only thing that keeps coming to my mind. Oh, and the septic tank, that gets a bit stinky. What is that stink? Brian shook his head. I've got to find out, the old bear said. So he looked under rocks and up in the trees. That smells disgusting. It's worse than old cheese. Even the birds aren't impressed, are they? Lucky he didn't find a spider under that rock, or he would have found his roar. He called out to Frog, "What is that smell?" Frog shrugged. "No idea." Brian sighed. "Oh well. I'll keep on looking. I'll sniff it out. It's worse than a skunk or a bucket of trout." Who'd have a bucket of trout? They taste disgusting and all muddy. He followed that stench all over the wood, looking high and low and wherever he could. Can you look all over the wood? I look all over the wood sometimes. Because you want to know where you're going, don't you? Then suddenly, from just past the next tree, came a sweet little voice. "Are you looking for me?" Do you think he's looking for that sweet little voice? There stood a bear with an incredible smile, but she smelled so bad that you'd run a mile. Don't want to vomit, do we? It'd get all through my rug and then I'd have to clean it. She and her friends waved at Brian and he waved back too. "My name's Bryony," she said. "How do you do?" I had a wonderful student called Bryony a long, long time ago at Roscommon. This goes out to you, Bryony, if you happen to see it. If she doesn't, tag her in it. "You smell just scrumptious," she said with a whiff. Like to sniff big. Those that know me, I like to snort the oils. Good oils, of course, like lavender and tea tree and orange. Orange is one of my favourite. Why, thank you, he said. But what is that whiff? I thought you might like it, Bryony Bear said. I think I'd rather you smelled of mouldy old bread. Don't think that smells nice either, do you? That might hurt her feelings too. Even though we think those things, sometimes it's not a nice thing to say. And there might be a better way of telling somebody that they need to put on some deodorant or have a wash. Don't be silly, she said. Can I give you a kiss? Brian covered his mouth. I think I'll give it a miss. That smell is too much. I'm so sorry, he said. And then Brian ran to hide by a tree. I mucked that up. I do that a lot, but it's okay because it's called rereading and having another go. If you make a mistake, have another go. That smell is too much, I'm sorry, said he. And then Brian ran to hide by a tree because he and tree rhyme. And we need to get that correct, don't we? Bryony stood there confused, unable to move. She cried to her friends, Brian did not approve. I bathed in some rubbish to try something new. But her friends interrupted. Why, you should be you. That's a good lesson for all of us, to be who we are, not who we think everybody else wants us to be. So Bryony hatched a new plan to win Brian's heart. She would ask her friends to make her once again smart. Rabbit got a bucket and Hedgehog found a brush, and the mice picked up some petals to make her smell lush. I love that word, lush. Can you say lush? Lush. Oh, lush. I like lush. This is lovely, she said, whilst having a shower. The animals kept scrubbing until she smelled like a flower. I have a flower. It doesn't smell because it's fake. They washed her and brushed her, getting rid of the weeds, and cleaned the mud from her ears with a nice fluffy reed. That's nice. She looks a little bit different now, doesn't she? She probably smell a lot different. I'll see. Nope, doesn't smell. That's great, isn't it? Just one last little thing before she could go. A little white daisy chain tied up in a bow. That's better, they said. We think you'll agree. Oh, thank you so much. I now feel like me. But sometimes it's not just about the outside, is it? It's about the inside. We don't need to change what we are on the outside for other people's approval. We just need to change the inside for our own approval. Now Bryony smells great, fantastic and nice, of lovely things like sugar and spice. And Brian thought, wow, what a beautiful bear, no longer walking around with weeds in her hair. So it just goes to show, whoever you are. Look, they're high-fiving over here because they're good friends. Good friends support each other, don't they? They use reeds to wash out each other's ears. Just be yourself and you'll shine like a star. Because you're a star. I'm a star. Well, actually, I'm mooning today. I don't have my star t-shirt on. I've got my moon t-shirt, but all those things are part of the universe, just like we are. I know that you are part of the universe. Did you know that? Did you know that we are all made up of exactly the same stuff as the universe? Did you know that we are all as amazing as the universe? If you didn't, you do now. We are all one and the same. Just because I have this on my outside doesn't mean I'm any different to you. I might like different things, like I like fake flowers in my hair, and I kept all my teddy bears from when I was really little. Other people don't do that and think I'm a freak, but that's okay, because freaks rule the world. So do weirdos and geeks. And this is a time when we can all come out and show the light for everybody else who's freaking out. It's okay. And we're all the same, and we're all in this together. True story. Anyway, you're in luck today. I'm just going to have to change positions because actually, at 25 years old, my legs go to sleep when I sit like this for too long. I know some of you adults know exactly what I mean. Yoga's working well, but it still has a little way to go so that I don't get up and fall over later. I need the blood to go to my toes. So another one today, we've got another bear. Who knows Pooh? I know you all know Pooh. This Pooh is Winnie the Pooh, and he gets to meet a gopher who might have to dig Pooh out. Winnie the Pooh meets Gopher. It's a Walt Disney presentation, and it's a little golden book. It's based on the story by A.A. Milne, and I'm pretty sure most of you know the story of Winnie the Pooh, Christopher Robin, Tigger too, Kanga and Roo. And don't forget that my little favourite who likes to eat acorns is Piglet. Do you like Piglet? I love Piglet, especially roasted on a Sunday night. It's lovely, isn't it? But it's got to be crackly. I like the skin crackly. Winnie the Pooh meets Gopher. Winnie the Pooh lived in the forest under the name Sanders, which means he had the same name Sanders over the door and he lived under it. That doesn't look a lot like Winnie the Pooh though, does it? That looks a bit more like Rabbit, but I don't think it's Rabbit's house. One day when Pooh was sitting resting, his clock chimed. Now what does that mean? wondered Pooh. He knew it meant something, but being a bear of little brain, he had to think and think. There's lots of mummies and daddies and caregivers who have to do that. I do it when I walk down into a room and I stand there and I have to think and think, why did I come here? And I have to go back to the place that I first thought about going to that room and have another think to see if I can work out what on earth I was going there for. Ah, yes, that was it. It was time for his stoutness exercises. Up, down went Pooh, humming a little hum. Sorry, adults, I actually have to do this nicely because it's children. But if you join me on another day, when I put a special link, I'll read you a special story. During his stoutness exercises, doing his stoutness exercises always made Pooh hungry. Oh, bother, the honey pot was empty again. There was nothing in it. He would have to go out and find some. Don't you hate when your honey pot's empty? I love it when my honey pot is filled up. So sweet and sticky and delicious. So lush. I know you like your honey pot filled up too. And so Pooh went out walking, and he came to a sandy bank with a hole in it. It was Rabbit's hole. And Rabbit might say, "What about a bit of lunch?" Do you think Rabbit wants Pooh in his hole? "Is anybody at home?" called Pooh. "No," said a voice. "Bother," said Pooh. "Isn't that you, Rabbit?" "No," said the voice. Pooh stuck his head in the hole. Yes, Heather, today is a little bit harder. "Oh, hello, Pooh," said Rabbit. "What a pleasant surprise. What about a bit of lunch?" he said with great sarcasm. Actually, I'm ad-libbing there. He didn't really want Pooh there. "I do feel like a little something now that I come to think of it," said Pooh. And he settled down to a large, small helping of honey and condensed milk without the bread. Who else likes condensed milk? I know lots of people who eat condensed milk. I find it disgusting because I don't like it. I'd much rather swallow cold porridge and sick. I'm kidding. For a long time, Pooh ate and ate and ate. Then in rather a sticky voice, he said goodbye to Rabbit and started to climb out of the hole. You can only see his butt in the hole, can't you? What do you think is going to happen? Do you think Pooh can get out the hole? "Oh, help! Oh, bother! I'm stuck," said Pooh. "It all comes out of eating too much," said Rabbit. And he started pushing. Sorry, can't hold it now. But it was no help. "It all comes from not having front doors big enough," said Pooh. "I shall go and fetch Christopher Robin," said Rabbit, dashing out of the back door. "Don't go away." I don't think Pooh's going anywhere, do you? He looks very stuck to me. That's what happens when you're a garbage guts and eat everything at somebody else's house. "I say, are you stuck?" said Owl, who had landed nearby. "No, I'm just resting and thinking," said Pooh. Owl looked at him closely. "You, sir, are stuck," he said. "This situation obviously calls for an expert." "Here I am," said Samuel J. Gopher, "an excavation expert at your service." Gopher strutted around Pooh, poking and prodding. Hard digging. Danger of a cave-in. Need planks for bracing. Big job. 2 or 3 days. 2 or 3 days, said Pooh. What about lunches? Still thinking about his tummy, Pooh needs to become more mindful and do some other activities. "No problem," said Gopher. "Always bring my own lunch. Run into money, strictly cash. Think it over. Let me know. Here's my card." And he disappeared as suddenly as he had come. "Cheer up, Pooh Bear, we're coming," called a voice. Christopher Robin and Kanga and Roo and Piglet. Oh, and Eeyore, I forgot Eeyore at the beginning, didn't I? Appeared over the hill. They started pulling and pulling. They would have to all pull together, wouldn't they? "There's only one thing to do," said Christopher Robin at last. "We'll have to wait until you get thin." "Might take weeks or even months," said Eeyore sadly. And no meals, said Christopher Robin. It's like Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig, isn't it? Although you can have meals with them now. And so there was Winnie the Pooh, half in and half out of Rabbit's hole. Night fell and rain fell, and when Pooh got wet, Rabbit and the others had to wring him out. Imagine having to wring out Pooh. They sang him sustaining songs and tried to cheer him up, and Pooh tried not to think about eating. That's what we need to do as friends, don't we? We need to sing songs and talk to each other and make happy times so that we can all get through this nutty experience together. That's why I'm reading Cray books to you. Then they all went home and Pooh was left alone. I still think I could blast you out of there, said Gopher, appearing suddenly. You are that stuck-up bear, aren't you? He added. That's not very nice to tell a bear that he's stuck up. It might be better to just say, gosh, you've got some very strong opinions, haven't you? Said Pooh absently, eyeing Gopher's lunchbox. I know people who do that when they say they don't want anything from takeaways, and then you get it and they look at you and think, actually, I'd like the last bite of your burger. And do you know what I say? Sure. What's in that box? Said Pooh, suspecting something. Let me see, said Gopher busily. There's a little cold salmon and some custard and, oh yes, some honey. Honey, breathed Pooh. Honey, gasped Rabbit inside his hole. Oh no, not that. Finding his front door still full, he dashed out by the back door and round, just in time to see. What's he going to see? Do you think Gopher's going to give Pooh some honey? I hope not. Or Rabbit's going to have Pooh stuck in his hole for a long time. Gopher politely handing Pooh a fat jar of honey. Stop it at once, said Rabbit, snatching away the jar. Not one drop. But Rabbit, I wasn't going to eat it, said Pooh in an offended tone of voice. Only taste it. I will taste it, Rabbit said grandly. You are in a predicament. No tasting, no eating, till you are thin. Thoughtfully, he tasted the honey, then gave the jar back to Gopher. Very good, in fact, not bad at all, but not for Pooh Bear. Poor Pooh. That wouldn't be very nice to be stuck and not able to eat, would it? Rabbit was quite busy for a long time down in his hole. When he came up, he had a sign which he had made. The sign said, "Don't feed the bear." Gopher didn't come back after that. Goodbye, Gopher. Pooh got thinner and thinner until at last, when they all pulled and Rabbit pushed, pop, out came Pooh. And off he went, flying through the air. He's a flying Pooh now. Christopher Robin and Piglet and Eeyore and Kanga and Roo all landed in a heap. I wonder where Pooh lands. He might splat somewhere. Where is he? Said Rabbit, looking out from his front door at last. Stuck again, said Eeyore sadly. Don't worry, silly old bear, said Christopher Robin in a loving voice. We'll get you out. There's no hurry, mumbled Pooh Bear. This is the right kind of tree and the right kind of bee. What a happy ending for Pooh. Can you see that he's in the tree all happy and eating honey? Lucky he's not stuck in a hole in the tree, or he'd be right out of luck, wouldn't he? Remember Winnie the Pooh. It's one of the golden books. And remember, you can get all these books yourself to read in your home. So I'm going to say goodbye after I give you a little tip. It's called 10-second increments. And what you do is you just go through your day in 10-second increments. So you need to just stay in those 10 seconds, next 10 seconds, next 10 seconds, next 10 seconds. And at each of those 10 seconds, you always have the potential to change the outcome. As we go through our lives, it's good to practice 10-second increments because we get to be in the moment. We get to change the outcome along the way at any moment. And we also get to know that there's only 10 seconds of each moment of those 10 seconds and that there's potential for change. Practice those 10-second increment things and be aware of what you're doing, what you're thinking, and who you're being. It's a really good practice as a parent or an adult to practice 10-second increments with our kids. Those moments when we're like blah, 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 and losing our mind. I nearly said another word starting with shh. Can you say shh? It's a new sound. It's really good to stop yourself in that 10-second and think about what the next 10 seconds will be or could be instead. And it's okay to stop mid-spew on our children and change it completely. Because you know what? We always have the opportunity to make something different, to learn from our mistakes and be a different person. And we can't be a different person if we don't make change. And it's okay to change, even mid-spew. My children have known, or I have been known to my children to be to them, yelling and carrying on like a crazy lady as I'm trying to get them out the door for school. And I just have to stop. It does take practice, I can tell you that. Even I have my moments still, and I practice this all the time. Stop in there for a quick moment and realize, become aware that this is what you're doing. It's great to have awareness about our behaviors and our reactions. And if we're not being reactive, we can be responsive. And in 10-second increments, we can be more responsive instead of reactive. Reactive is where something happens and we just react to that and we freak out and we yell and we carry on or we do whatever. Responsive is where we take that 10 seconds, we have a quick think about how we're going to respond, and then we respond. So even if you're in there and you have those moments of where you're losing your la-las, you can stop and you can just say, Mummy's rewinding. And I'm going to try that again. Just like when we're reading, we need to try that again. If we don't get that sentence correct, we can do it too with our children. Some of you Might even like to try it with your husbands and wives and partners. Wouldn't that be great? Stop. It's okay. Have that moment. Change what you're about to say and then respond instead of reacting. We can be all much kinder, much nicer, much more compassionate. And out of that, we can create a magnificent world, because that's what we're doing right now. This is your time to create. This is your time to change. This is your time to respond, not react. Imagine a world where we all respond to each other instead of reacting. Imagine a world where we all spread kindness and love and compassion and empathy and understanding. Imagine that world. Our kids can imagine it already. Take a leaf out of their book today and just have a go. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to try. And when they see you doing that, they know it's safe for them to do that. So on that note, I'm going to go and play with my Buzz, my Jemima, my little bear, Spot You Later, Dolly, and Big Ted on my furry rug. Remember, you can create your own little environment where you can read stories to your toys. I'll see you again soon. I'm about to over and out, so I'll give you a great big, loving, beautiful smile, send masses of love out to you for a beautiful day. May magnificent surprises show up for you all. Love you.